Welcome back to the smartest year ever, our quest to become the world's greatest conversationalist. My name is Gordy, hello, and this is Accidental Genius Week, where every day we dig into a discovery that started as a mistake. So I was just wondering, what happens when a chemist looking for the latest medicine accidentally unlocks a portal to the human mind? And how did a bike ride through Switzerland become the most famous trip in psychedelic history? Like and subscribe right now if you haven't, so you can keep up every single day. I do this every single day. Albert Hofmann wasn't trying to shatter reality, he was trying to create a new circulatory stimulant. In the 1930s and 40s, Hofmann was a chemist at Sandoz's laboratory in Basel, Switzerland, working with ergot, a toxic fungus that grows on rye. For centuries, ergot had been both feared and revered. In high doses, it caused convulsions and hallucinations. In controlled amounts, it had medicinal uses, especially in constricting blood vessels and inducing labor. Hofmann's goal was to synthesize new compounds that might help with circulation or breathing. In 1938, he created lysergic acid diethylamide 25, or LSD 25, but it didn't seem useful, so Sandoz shelved it. 5 years later, on a hunch, Hofmann returned to the compound. While resynthesizing it on April 16, 1943, something strange happened. He began to feel dizzy, restless, visual distortions, a surreal state of mind. He suspected it might have entered through the skin, and he also suspected that LSD was far more potent than anyone had realized. He wrote in his journal, "I was forced to interrupt my work in the laboratory in the middle of the afternoon and proceed home, being affected by a remarkable restlessness, combined with a slight dizziness." So naturally, 3 days later, Hofmann decided to test it on himself on purpose. On April 19th, 1943, he took what he thought was a small dose, 250 micrograms of LSD. In reality, it was an enormous dose for him. LSD is active in just 20 micrograms. Within the hour, Hofmann was overwhelmed by the effects: kaleidoscope visuals, time dilation, anxiety, euphoria. And he wrote this in his lab journal. This is from his lab journal when he was there. The last thing he wrote in his lab journal was beginning dizziness, feeling of anxiety, visual distortions, symptoms of paralysis, desire to laugh. Ah, yes. The symptoms of paralysis always make you want to laugh, right? That's normal. That's normal. Ha ha ha. Uh-oh. But he asked his lab assistant to escort him home. Because of wartime fuel shortages in Switzerland, there were no cars available, so they had to ride bicycles. So he got on his bike, and he pedaled through Basel while tripping on what would become the world's most famous hallucinogen. The date is now remembered by psychedelic historians as Bicycle Day. Later in his journal, he described the ride. "I had the sensation of being unable to move from the spot. Nevertheless, my assistant later told me that we traveled very rapidly." I think that's funny. He's just hauling ass. Oh, that cracks me up. It's like just imagining him just like white knuckling it, just like pedaling, like sweating down his face, pedaling super hard, and his assistant just being like, "What is he doing? Like, you are going really fast." And then meanwhile, Hoffman's just like, "I'm not going anywhere. Why am I not moving?" And he wrote, "On my way home, the condition began to assume threatening forms. Everything in my field of vision wavered and was distorted as if seen in a curved mirror. A demon had invaded me and had taken possession of my body, mind, and soul." Yikes. Hope he was wearing a helmet. Once home, Hofmann's trip intensified. The walls warped, sounds twisted. At one point, he feared he was going insane or dying. But by the next morning, he felt mentally clear, even euphoric. The world, he said, glowed with a renewed sense of beauty and meaning. He had discovered one of the most powerful psychoactive substances in human history. By accident. Sandoz quickly realized the potential. They named it Delizid, and they shipped free samples to researchers around the world, hoping it might unlock the mysteries of the mind. And in the 1950s, psychiatrists explored its use in psychotherapy, treating alcoholism and inducing temporary psychosis for study. The CIA, meanwhile, dosed people without consent through the MK Ultra program, trying to weaponize its effects. I should probably do a full episode on the MK Ultra program. That's pretty wild, if you're not familiar with that. By the 1960s, LSD had slipped the medicinal leash. Writers like Aldous Huxley and Ken Kesey celebrated its mind-expanding powers. Timothy Leary told students to turn on, tune in, and drop out. And by 1968, it was banned in the United States. Still, Hofmann never renounced it. He called LSD his problem child. He believed LSD had extraordinary potential for understanding consciousness and treating psychiatric conditions, but he was also distressed by its widespread misuse in the 1960s counterculture, which he felt had derailed its scientific promise. And he lived to be 102 years old and believed until the end that if used carefully, LSD could help humanity understand itself. Today, research at places like Johns Hopkins and MAPS, the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, is reviving clinical interest in LSD, psilocybin, and other psychedelics for depression, PTSD, and end-of-life anxiety. So there you have it. A Swiss chemist, a hunch, and an accidental dose that cracked open the boundaries of perception. I'm not sure if accidental is actually the word. I mean, I don't know. You probably just, I think the lesson here is you probably shouldn't just eat your lab products all willy-nilly. But yeah, he was looking for heart medicine. And he found a mind-bending key to consciousness instead. Go check out all my sources, which can be found in the YouTube description. Rate, like, subscribe, follow, leave a comment about the scariest bike ride you've ever taken. Have you had a near-death experience? Also, check out the 1-minute version at Smartest Year Ever everywhere on social media for those condensed 1-minute clips of it. And in the meantime, stay curious and stay clever on our quest to become the world's greatest conversationalists. I will see you tomorrow in the smartest year ever. We got one more Accidental Genius Week one coming up.